Single mom's heartfelt message went to the wrong man. What happened next will change everything. Jessica sat at the small table in her cramped kitchen, the faint light from the single bulb overhead illuminating her tear-streaked face. Her fingers trembled as they moved across the page, pouring her heart into a letter she intended for her sister. "I'm so tired," she wrote. "Every day feels like an uphill battle juggling 2 jobs just to scrape by. I worry about Ethan's future, about giving him a life he deserves but can barely afford." Her words flowed, raw and unfiltered, each sentence a reflection of her struggle, her hope, her fear. "Sometimes, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up." And in her moment of chaos, she hit send, a click that would unwittingly alter everything. That letter, intended for familial support, landed in the inbox of someone far less familiar: Tom, a local veteran trying to find his place after years of serving his country. Tom stood in his modest apartment, his brow creased as he stumbled upon Jessica's unexpected message. The loneliness pooled in his chest, matching his own life's disarray. As he read her words, her frustration, her hopes for Ethan, it was as if she was opening a door to the weight he carried in silence. Vivid images of her lifting Ethan up, running alongside him as he laughed, filled Tom's mind. "She's fighting for him," he thought, his heart beating faster. "And here I am, fighting for, what?" Feeling an unexpected tug at his heart, he decided to write back. Their correspondence blossomed like wildflowers through cracks in the sidewalk. Jessica shared her joys and fears, Tom poured out his own struggles, the loss of purpose that followed him like a shadow. They discovered that their town, the same one that often wore its economic challenge like a badge, was painted with shades of bias that haunted them both. "We're all just trying to get by," she wrote, "but it feels like the world is against us. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Into this mix of vulnerability, an opportunity surfaced: an old diner owner wanting to sell, offering a chance for Jessica to take a leap and invest in dreams of her own. But with that dream came a price. It required the backing of people whose support hinged on compromising her values. As whispers of distrust filled the air, old biases bubbled to the surface, dividing a community that once felt unbreakable. At a packed town hall meeting, with tension crackling in the air, Jessica faced a heart-wrenching decision. The voices of the crowd, murmurs of discontent, clashed wildly like a storm brewing. Would she choose the safety of silence, ensuring a future for Ethan? Or would she stand up, risking it all, not just for her own aspirations but for Tom's dignity too? With her heart pounding and her chest tight, she felt the weight of her own truth. "I can't let fear decide my future," she whispered to herself, as silence started to descend, everyone hanging on the edge of her words. As her hand clenched under the table, Jessica looked up, determination simmering beneath the fear. Locking eyes with Tom for a brief second offered her a flash of strength. The question remained: would she take that step into the unknown, risking everything for justice and hope? Jessica inhaled deeply, the air heavy with anticipation as she stood before the crowd. Every face was a reflection of a different struggle, a portrait of their shared experience. In that moment, she realized that her fight was never just for herself or Ethan, it was for all of them. "I may not have all the answers," she began, her voice steady but shaky, "but I know that staying silent will not change anything." Tom felt the surge of energy in the room, each word wrapping around him like a lifeline. When Jessica spoke, he could see the weight of her worries and dreams intertwined, a delicate dance of vulnerability and strength. She was drawing them in, making them realize that they were part of something bigger, a community that needed to stand together. "We can't let fear keep us from pursuing our dreams," she urged, glancing around at the group, her heart racing. "This diner represents more than just a business opportunity for me. It represents hope. Hope for better days for our children, for a place where we can gather and heal together. A murmur of agreement spread through the room, and Tom felt a flicker of hope igniting within him too. The urge to jump up and clap surfaced, but he restrained himself, focusing on Jessica, willing her to push through. But then, a voice from the back interrupted, cutting through the solidarity like a knife. "What makes you think you can run this place, Jessica? Look at you, a single mom, barely holding it together." The crowd shifted, discomfort rustling like leaves in a tempest. Jessica's courage wavered. Was she falling into old biases, unable to rise above them? She clenched her fists, her eyes darting around the hall. Doubts began to creep in. Would they ever see her, really see her? Was she just a caricature in their minds, too flawed to step into the light? "Anyone can try," another voice called out softly, breaking through the tension. "If they're willing to fight. Remember, we are all struggling." It was an older woman, her voice thick with emotion. "If you go through, then maybe we all can." Jessica's heart swelled as she took in the subtle support from unexpected allies. Fighting against the onset of tears, she replied, "I can't do this alone. I need all your support, even if it's just a shoulder to lean on. We all deserve a chance, don't we?" Tom felt a swell of admiration for Jessica. She was a warrior, not just for her dreams but for the heart of the community. His hand found its way to give a silent clap against his thigh, echoing the sentiment she had ignited. And as the murmurs around him quieted, a wave of applause erupted. A ripple of encouragement spread, washing over the pessimism like rain on dry ground. But just as hope painted bright colors across the room, one last voice echoed through the air like a chilling gust. "You think this changes anything? The system is rigged." A ripple of uncertainty followed, and Tom's stomach tightened. Will they follow through? Or will fear strangle their inspiration? He thought, the weight of the moment settling on him. Jessica's eyes searched the crowd, determination wrestling with doubt. With the stakes higher than ever, Jessica took a leap. "If we don't fight for our dreams, who will?" Would that call to action be enough to radicalize her neighbors? As the applause surged like waves crashing against the shore, Jessica's eyes sparkled with a new light, but the shadows of fear still loomed above. The symphony of voices and the electric feeling in the air surrounded her, yet deep down, she knew the hardest part was still to come, not just for herself but for everyone. What would it take to change the hearts that still held on to prejudice? Tom watched her, his heart pounding. The journey had only just begun. Could he muster the courage to join her fight? The moment held its breath, leaving the answer suspended in the air, waiting to be shaped by the choices they would make next. Would they rise together to face the storm? The applause faded, leaving a low murmur trailing behind it, a mix of excitement and anxiety. Jessica's hands trembled as she stepped down from the makeshift podium, her breath quickening. In that moment, she was not just a single mother, she was a beacon of hope, and yet, self-doubt wrapped around her like a heavy cloak. Tom noticed the glimmer in her eyes begin to dim as she crossed the room, the weight of impending responsibility settling heavily on her shoulders. "Hey," he called out softly, almost unsure if she could hear him over the whispers. She turned, her expression surprised, but open. "You were amazing up there," he continued, barely able to temper the admiration in his voice. "Thanks," Jessica replied, her smile flickering, warmth battling uncertainty. "But I don't know if it was enough." Tom could see the exhaustion etched on her face. "It was definitely enough to spark something," he reassured her. "You've got to remember, this is just the beginning. You inspired people tonight." "I hope so," she sighed, glancing back at the gathering crowd. "But one voice can't change everything." "Maybe not," he replied, feeling the flicker of determination rise in his own chest, "but one voice can inspire a lot of others. And you've got people ready to back you up. You have to believe that." Jessica chewed on her lower lip, her gaze shifting away. The flicker of doubt remained. What if they back down? What if they forget my message tomorrow? The vulnerability in her voice echoed throughout the nearly empty room. "Then they'll need a reminder," Tom shot back, feeling the fire of resolve pulse through him like a heartbeat. And you can be that reminder. Just like you did tonight. You've already put yourself out there. More will follow. Trust that. Suddenly, Ethan's small figure emerged from the crowd, his face bright and innocent. He rushed into Jessica's arms, his tiny fingers wrapping around her neck. "You were so cool, Mom!" he exclaimed, eyes wide with excitement. Her heart swelled. This was what she was doing it all for. As she hugged him tightly, a sense of purpose washed over her. "Thanks, buddy," she whispered, planting a kiss on his forehead. If she could hold on to this moment, this feeling of love and support, maybe she could keep pushing forward. Tom watched them for a moment, knowing this was the fuel Jessica needed. "You have your son behind you. And now you've got us," he said, stepping closer. "Let us not let anything stop us. We can meet again, plan some more, get the whole community together." "You think we can?" Jessica asked, her voice barely above a whisper, hope cautious in her heart. "Hell yes," Tom replied, his voice steady, filled with contagious energy. "It's time to take that first step and show people we're serious about this." As they exchanged that charged look, the gravity of what they were about to undertake settled in both of their hearts. It wasn't just about the diner, it was about the people, the community needing a spark of change, but just then, the voice of doubt interrupted once more. "You all think this is just a phase, don't you? Once the thrill of it wears off, you'll all go back to sleep." The familiar skeptical voice resonated from the back. It was the same critic, cutting through their hope. Tom clenched his jaw, the tension rising again in the room. But before he could respond, Jessica stepped forward, her expression fierce. "Then let us wake everyone up. We owe it to ourselves to fight for our future." As she spoke, something powerful surged in the air around them. Every word she breathed carried the weight of countless dreams. Tom felt a renewed strength, but the specter of doubt loomed larger. Could they really do this? Could this small group turn into a vibrant wave of change? Would they rise together to push against the shadows of the past? As the crowd sensed the intensity of the moment, they shifted, murmuring, but the question hung there like a thick fog. How would they react to the renewed challenge? Ethan looked up at Jessica, his innocent eyes reflecting the stakes he was counting on her to guide them through. This darkness. Would they rally behind her, or would old fears and doubts return to divide them? Jessica's heart raced, the vast possibilities stretched ahead of her like an endless road. What would she discover in the coming days? Would her fight lead to a brighter future or just more heartache? The answers lay waiting in the shadows, just beyond her reach. Jessica took a deep breath, steadying herself as the murmurs grew louder. She could feel the weight of their eyes on her, some uncertain, others curious, and a few still skeptical. But if she was going to lead, she needed to pull everyone together, not just for the community, but for Ethan, for herself. "All right, listen up," she called out, raising her voice. The crowd hushed, turning their attention back to her. "I know that a lot of you might think this is just a moment, but I promise you it can be a movement. We can't let fear hold us back." Tom shot her an encouraging smile, and with that spark igniting her spirit, she pushed further. "Let us make a plan. We can start by having regular meetings, gathering ideas, and inviting everyone to participate. We're already here, we just need to reach out." Ethan squeezed her hand, a silent cheerleader against her nerves. Jessica glanced at the people around her. Some nodded, others whispered to one another, and she could almost feel their energy shifting. It was happening, the flicker of hope was igniting. Just then, a voice chimed in from the crowd, this time igniting a different fire. "And what if they laugh at us? What if they brush us aside?" It came from Lisa, a woman she hadn't seen in years. The doubt mirrored the very fear Jessica grappled with. "Then let them laugh," Jessica said, her voice rising again. "They laughed before. But change starts with people daring to speak up, daring to be seen. We can't let their laughter drown out our voices." The room seemed to shift with her words. A few people exchanged glances, their eyes brightening with recognition. Those whispers began to transform into tentative applause, a rhythmic buildup that filled her with energy. In every town, you hear stories of people who stood alone at first. But when they reach out, the tide can turn. Jessica stepped closer to those at the front. If we work together, we can build something beautiful. Isn't it worth the risk? Yeah. Came a shout from the back. Slowly, hands began to raise in agreement, and Jessica felt a rush of adrenaline surge through her. Ethan giggled at the fervor, with a grin that could lift anyone's spirits. We're going to change the world, Mom. Jessica knelt down to look him in the eyes. Yes, we are, buddy. But we can't do it without everyone here. And suddenly there was magic in the air. Within moments, the crowd transformed into a sea of energy, voices rising, clapping, and even some shouts of encouragement. There was a shared presence that pulsed through the room. It was the beginning of a community stepping forward together. As the energy gathered momentum, Tom stepped beside her, a reassuring hand on her back. You did it, Jess. Look at them. He gestured at the crowd, now more animated than before. Jessica struggled to believe it. But what if it isn't enough? She murmured, her gaze scanning the room. The doubt still flickered at the edges of her mind. Trust yourself, Tom replied gently, you've already shown them a path. They just need the courage to follow. But even as she felt the hope swell, something cold raced down her spine. A voice filtered through the exuberance, quiet yet clear. It belonged to Derek, an influential member of the town council, known for being dismissive of grassroots movements. You think this will change anything? This town is stuck in its ways and you're wasting your time. The laughter from earlier shifted to an uneasy tension. Jessica's heart sank as Derek's words seemed to swallow the energy in the room. Could they rise above such doubt? Would her courage stand strong against the skepticism? Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward. We might be just starting out, but every change begins with a single step. I refuse to let your doubts dictate our future. As she held his gaze, the crowd fell silent, awaiting Derek's response. Would he push against their budding unity, or perhaps sow seeds of inspiration instead? The air was thick, heavy with anticipation, and Jessica felt the weight of the turning point rest solely on her shoulders. How would they respond to the challenge she laid before them? Would hearts and minds open, or would the stronghold of old skepticism prevail? An unsettling tension filled the air. One moment could tip the balance in either direction. Jessica was ready to find out just how far they could go, but the answer still loomed, just beyond the grasp of their collective courage. The room held its breath. Jessica's heartbeat echoed in her ears, a pulsing reminder of what was at stake. She was aware of the other voices around her. The murmurs had quelled, drawn into the shadow of Derek's skepticism. But she refused to crumble under the weight of it. Derek's eyes, cold, analytical, were fixed on her, waiting for a crack in her resolve. It was as if he thrived on doubt, sipping it like fine wine. He posed as the arbiter of truth, but Jessica wouldn't give him the power he sought. Let me remind you, she began, pushing back against the doubt threatening to ensnare her. Change doesn't come from those who sit back. It comes from those willing to stand for what they believe, to risk their comfort for the sake of the future. She saw a flicker in a few eyes around her, some spark of recognition, perhaps even agreement. Someone coughed nervously, and she seized upon the distraction, continuing with fervor. No, it won't be easy. But if we don't try, we've already failed. The silence was stifling, the air taut with tension. But Jessica sensed the tide shifting. The fidgeting hands in the crowd were showing signs of life, a readiness to act. Derek narrowed his eyes, glaring as if willing her charm to bend to his skepticism. Idealistic notions won't change reality, Jessica. The town has its ways for a reason. And maybe those ways are part of the problem, Jessica shot back. Sometimes you have to shout above the din to be heard. At that moment, a voice broke through, one she recognized as Lisa's. Then let us shout together. A ripple of murmurs followed, washing over the crowd. People began to nod, eyes brightening with determination. Jessica felt her spirit lift, a warmth spreading in her chest. Was it possible that they could turn Derek's words back against him? I used to think I was just one voice, Lisa continued, her confidence swelling. But together we can create a chorus that no one can ignore. And just like that, the crowd shifted. Hands were raised. More voices joined Lisa's. Jessica felt a wave of relief rush over her. Exactly. Together we can change the narrative. Leslie, a single mother standing nearby, shouted, "It's time we embrace our fears and not let them control us anymore." As cheers erupted in the room, Jessica was caught in a whirlwind of emotion. She looked at Ethan, whose eyes sparkled like stars as he grinned up at her. The doubts that had crept into her mind began to falter under the sheer force of their unity. Derek's expression hardened, but she could see the cracks appearing. The momentum was shifting. "You will regret this," he interjected, voice sharp, trying to cut through the rising enthusiasm. "Or perhaps I'll find strength in the very community you doubt." Jessica countered, her words imbued with the weight of every struggle she endured. The crowd roared in response, the sound echoing around the room, a rising tide of voices willing to challenge the silence of complacency. In that moment, Jessica knew they had become more than just individuals. They were a collective force, ready to embrace their power, but as the cheers filled the space, doubts gnawed at her from the edges. What if this was all a facade? She wondered. Could the tide of excitement hold long enough to sustain their unity outside this room? Derek, now half-shouted, finally broke through the momentum. "You think they'll back you when the real work begins? The last thing this town needs is more chaos." Jessica's heart raced as he laid a challenge, one that made her pulse quicken and her mind whirl. Was Derek right? Could their voices, so loud now, whisper away when the reality of effort took hold? She paused, uncertainty sneaking back in, thickening the air once more. "We'll find out together, Derek," she said, her voice steady. "Don't underestimate what people are capable of when they dare to believe." The silence that followed was electric, hanging heavy as everyone awaited the next move. In this quiet moment, Jessica recognized the flicker of vulnerability in Derek's eyes. Behind his facade of skepticism was fear, not only of change but of losing control. Would they stand firm against that fear? Would the flame of unity they had sparked remain strong? The challenge was on, and it loomed larger than ever. "Tomorrow, we meet again," she declared, gathering herself. "Let us build something that even the hardest hearts can't deny." As the crowd erupted into agreement once more, Jessica felt a surge of determination, yet an echo of uncertainty still lingered. Each step forward from here would be crucial. They were at the cusp of something life-altering, but how would they navigate the storm that lay ahead? The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow through the dusty window as Jessica trudged home. The day had begun with a surge of adrenaline, but now it settled into her bones like lead. Her mind replayed the meeting, each voice echoing in her memory while Derek's sneer burned at the back of her mind. What if he was right? What if they couldn't keep the momentum going? Jessica shook her head, trying to clear the doubts. Families depended on her, the single mothers, the workers tired of barely making ends meet. They were counting on her to lead them, but could she really do it? As she reached her front porch, she stopped and leaned against the railing. The familiar rhythm of life buzzed around her, kids laughing, the smell of burgers grilling on nearby grills, the soft rustling of leaves in the warm breeze. This was the tapestry of their community, a tapestry she felt determined to weave tighter. The door creaked open, and Ethan emerged with an armful of wildflowers he had picked from the garden. "Look, Mom. I thought you'd like these." His smile burst into the space like sunlight. In that moment, all her worries slipped away. She knelt down, taking the flowers from his hands, their vibrant colors igniting a flicker of hope within her. "They're beautiful, buddy." "Thank you." Ethan's brow furrowed as he studied her expression. "What's wrong? You look kinda sad." "Just a long day." It was a tough meeting, she admitted, her voice softer. It was about the town stuff. He asked, taking a seat next to her, his small legs swinging over the edge. She nodded, plucking a yellow bloom and smelling it. The scent was sweet and grounding. Yeah, but I think we did something good, at least, I hope we did. Don't worry, Mom. You can do it. Everyone believes in you. His enthusiasm was infectious. Tears prickled at her eyes, a mix of gratitude and fear. What if they don't, Ethan? What if we all stand up and nothing changes? Ethan looked at her, serious for a moment beyond his years. But if you don't try, what will happen? Won't everything just stay the same? Maybe it's okay not to know what happens next. His words wrapped around her heart like a warm blanket. Maybe he was right. It was okay to be uncertain. The real risk lay in not trying. In that thought, a fire ignited within her. They had come too far to turn back now. That evening, she posted a call to action on social media, rallying her neighbors for an open discussion the next day. She shared her thoughts, fears, and aspirations, hoping her vulnerability would resonate. By morning, her phone buzzed with notifications. People were sharing her post, commenting with their own stories, their own dreams. As the sun rose, so did her confidence. I'm going to do this, she said determinedly, her fingers typing away. Tomorrow, we take the next step, together. Just as she hit post, a message appeared from Lisa. Let us meet before the discussion. I have something to share. Think you'll have time? Jessica's heart raced. What could it be? Was there something more to Lisa's newfound confidence? Absolutely. What's up? The response came back quickly. I can't wait to tell you. You might want to sit down. Jessica's heartbeat quickened again, a sense of anticipation mixing with anxiety. What was Lisa holding back? As the day pressed on, she felt a storm brewing, and not just from the anticipation of the meeting. Something was brewing in her heart, pushing her toward new possibilities. She just hoped they were ready to embrace whatever came next. As evening fell and shadows crept into her living room, Jessica realized something vital. Change could be scary, but it was necessary. Was she ready to face whatever revelations awaited them? Would they walk into the storm together, or would it rip them apart? Her phone buzzed again. It was Lisa. We need to talk. Trust me. It's big. Jessica's breath hitched, the storm had only just begun. The next morning dawned with an urgency that buzzed in the air. Jessica barely slept, her mind swirling with thoughts of Lisa's message. What could be so significant that it warranted a sit-down? She was caught between biting anticipation and a dull ache of fear. After hastily enjoying breakfast with Ethan, she grabbed her keys, determination squaring her shoulders. I'll be back soon, okay? She said, ruffling Ethan's hair as he built a fortress out of cushions. Are you gonna fix everything? He asked, earnest eyes peering up at her. She blinked, overwhelmed. I just want to try, buddy. As she drove to the coffee shop, thoughts raced. Lisa's message felt like both an invitation and a warning. Would it be good news that could boost their momentum, or would it be a setback that could rip everything apart? The bell above the cafe door jingled as she entered, drawing the eyes of a few early morning patrons. Jessica spotted Lisa at a small corner table, her face illuminated with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Hey. Thanks for meeting me, Jessica said, settling in across from her friend. Thanks for coming. I've been thinking a lot. Lisa fiddled with her mug, fingers gripping tight. About what we talked about the other day. Jessica nodded, encouraging her to continue. So, I've decided to run for the school board, Lisa blurted out, her voice barely above a whisper, yet echoing in Jessica's heart. Wow. That's huge. Jessica replied, her tone a little sharper than she intended. You're really serious? Yeah. I know things need to change, especially for our kids. I want to be a voice for them, but I thought maybe we could do this together. Jessica's heart raced. Together? Like, you and me? Absolutely. I believe if we rally the community, we can bring real change. We can give them the chance to voice their opinions too. This is about all of us, Jess. Jessica felt a swell of emotions: excitement, hope, but also that old worry creeping back in. But what if we don't have what it takes? Then we'll find out together. Just think about how powerful we could be working side by side. She could see Lisa's passion. The sparkle in her friend's eyes reignited Jessica's determination, pushing the shadows of doubt aside. As they delved deeper into their plans, ideas flowed freely, wrapping around their aspirations like a warm embrace. But just as Lisa was about to lay out their strategy, her phone buzzed. Flipping it over, worry shadowed her features. "Oh no, it's Derek," she muttered under her breath. "Who?" Jessica's interest peaked, a frown forming on her brow. Lisa sighed. "The other candidate. He's been making waves. He's not happy about us stepping in." "Let him try," Jessica murmured, a fierce spark in her chest. Lisa looked at her friend, her expression mixed with fear and hope. "Do you really think we can handle all this?" In that moment, Jessica realized they weren't just stepping into a fight over positions. They were standing up for their community, for families like theirs who needed someone to fight for them. "I know we can," she said, her voice steady. "It's time we face this storm together." As they set their plans in motion, a shared fire lit between them, an unbreakable bond forged in purpose. Jessica could feel the winds shifting as they plotted their course, rallying the community around them. But just as they started envisioning their campaign, a message slid into Jessica's phone, causing her stomach to twist. "I need to talk. It's about your post. Meet me at the park." She glanced at Lisa, her heart racing again. "Who is this?" Lisa leaned closer, concern etched on her face. "What is going on, Jess?" Jessica's mind spun. "I don't know, this could be important, or it could make things worse." The storm loomed again, thick with uncertainty. Would the message be an opportunity, or was it a threat to everything they hoped for? "Let us find out," Lisa said, determination in her eyes. With a shared glance, they knew they had to answer the call, whatever it was. Both the challenge and the reward awaited them at the park. But as they stood to leave, Jessica couldn't shake a nagging feeling that things were about to change in ways they never imagined. Would they uncover something that could build their movement or tear it down before it even began? The sun hung high in the sky, casting long shadows across the park as Jessica and Lisa approached the meeting point. Jessica's heart thudded in her chest. Each step felt heavy, laden with the weight of uncertainty and a tinge of dread. She glanced at Lisa, who mirrored her nervousness. "What if this is a mistake?" Jessica mumbled, her voice just above a whisper. "Maybe. But we won't know unless we find out," Lisa replied, a quiet resolve in her tone. As they arrived at a bench near an old oak tree, Jessica spotted a man pacing. The familiar figure of Ryan, an old acquaintance from school, came into view. His expression was taut, a mixture of frustration and urgency. "Hey, you made it," he said, his voice tight as he approached, hands shoved deep in his pockets. "What's this about?" Jessica asked, crossing her arms protectively. "I got your post about the school board run. There's something you need to know." Ryan's eyes narrowed, and Jessica caught a glimpse of his concern. "Derek's already planning to undermine you too. It's worse than you think." "Undermining us how?" Lisa interjected, worry creeping back into her voice. "Rumor has it he's digging into the past yours, Jess. He's trying to paint a picture that you're not fit to lead." Jessica swallowed hard. Painful memories flickered through her mind, haunting reminders of decisions she wished to forget. "What kind of picture?" "Trying to bring up your divorce, maybe suggest you're too unstable to represent parents." All that drama, he thinks he can use it against you to scare people away. An icy chill swept over Jessica, wrapping around her heart. But that's not who I am. I'm just trying to help our kids. How can he do this? Ryan stepped closer. Because some people will do anything to keep their power. You need to be ready for it. A mix of fury and fear ignited in Jessica. That's not fair. It's not. But it's the truth. You can't let it get to you. Fight back. Ryan urged, his intensity pulling her focus. Fight back. How? By standing before the community and saying I'm worthy? Yes. Exactly that. You think people will believe a few whispers over what they know about you? This isn't just about you, it's about bringing your community together. Show them you mean it. Lisa nodded, fired up now. We have to rally our supporters. Let them know the truth, what we stand for. We're not backing down. Jessica took a deep breath. A wave of clarity washed over her. Standing back wasn't an option. Lisa was right. It was time to fight for their vision, the change they desired. Okay, then, she said, her voice growing stronger. Let us turn Derek's attacks into our motivation. We can't let him define us. Just as they were about to start brainstorming their next steps, Jessica's phone buzzed again, a message from an unknown number. Her heart skipped. Wait, another message, she said, fumbling with her phone. It read, I know your secret, Jessica. If you want it to stay hidden, meet me tonight at Crescent Park. Lisa leaned over, eyes wide. What is that? What secret? Jess, what is going on? Jessica's mind raced. The fear returned, heavier than before. This is bad, this is really bad. The fight they were ready to stir might just become a tangled web of the past threatening to unravel them. Whatever it is, we'll face it together, Lisa vowed, gripping Jessica's hand tightly. The weight of their mission felt suddenly heavier. Could they truly withstand the attacks, or would dark shadows from Jessica's past swallow them whole? As they stepped away from the bench, a moving tide of determination surged through them alongside an impending storm. What awaited at Crescent Park tonight could shatter their hopes or embolden their resolve. Would the truth come to light, or would fear seize them again? The sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm glow that mixed with the gathering shadows. The park felt different now, with the promise of confrontation hanging in the air. Jessica held on to Lisa's hand tightly, as if the grip could somehow shield her from whatever lay ahead. She wasn't sure if it was comfort or desperation fueling her. Crescent Park, Jessica murmured, looking toward the distant trees. It seemed innocent enough, but she felt a knot tightening in her stomach. What kind of secret does this person know? Whatever it is, it doesn't define you, Lisa said firmly, her voice just above the whisper of the wind. You're stronger than you think. Ryan stepped back to give them some space but made sure to keep his eyes locked on Jessica. We should come up with a plan, he suggested. If Derek's aiming low, we have to respond with something positive. Use the committee meeting to your advantage. Tell your story. Yes, right, Lisa added, her enthusiasm dimming slightly. But we can only focus on that once we handle this tonight. Jessica nodded, though uncertainty clouded her heart. What if this secret is something people don't understand? What if they believe it? With just a breath, Ryan leaned closer. The truth might hurt, but it can also heal. Own your past. Turn it into your strength. You're not the mistakes you made. She took a moment to breathe through the rising panic. So how do we confront this? I don't even know who I'm meeting. Keep your phone close, Lisa advised, her own apprehension flickering across her face. Maybe we can record the conversation. Just in case. That idea planted a seed of courage in Jessica. Yeah. Yes. Throw all our cards on the table, she said, determination sparking in her eyes. But I won't go in blind. Not again. As they walked towards Crescent Park, the streets darkening around them, uncertainty hung thick. Ryan, who had been a supportive constant, suddenly slowed. "Wait," he called out, his voice cutting through the night air. "I just realized, what if it's someone who knows about your ex?" Jessica's breath caught. The implications crashed over her like an unexpected wave. "You think it's someone trying to dig up old trauma?" "Hey, whatever it is, it doesn't change who you are," Lisa insisted, her grip tightening again. "But we have to be prepared for anything." Jessica couldn't shake the feeling that a pivotal moment was approaching, one that would either bury her or set her free. She turned to face her friends, their expressions a mix of concern and rallying support. "Okay, one last thing," Jessica said, feeling the resolve seep back into her bones. "If this gets out of hand, I want you both to promise me, you'll stand by me. No matter what." "Always," Lisa said without hesitation. "I'll have your back," Ryan echoed, her heart swelled, hope igniting within the storm of uncertainty. As they neared Crescent Park, the shadows deepened, mirroring the weight of the unknown lying ahead. "Here we are," Jessica said, her voice trembling slightly. They paused next to the low fence, the park a dim silhouette against the evening sky. Trees whispered as if sharing secrets with the wind, and then, out of the darkness, a figure stepped forward. Jessica's heart pounded. She couldn't make out their face, but she could feel the weight of their gaze upon her. "Jessica," the figure called softly, sending chills down her spine. The tension surged around them, thick and buzzing. "What do you want?" she demanded, trying to inject strength into her voice. "I know your secret," came the reply, steady and calm. "And if you want people to stay in the dark about it, we need to talk." The night felt static, her breath hitching as anxiety wrapped her throat like a vice. Could this be the tipping point? Would the weight of her past rise up to confront her? And what secret could possibly change everything? The figure took a step closer, revealing just enough of a silhouette to send her heart racing. "Let us make sure you know what's at stake," the voice continued, deeper now. As they closed the distance, dread mixed with the faint glimmer of hope. Jessica felt Lisa inching closer to her side, ready to shield her from whatever came next. What truth awaited her in this confrontation, and could she harness it to turn the tide in her favor? The night was thick with tension as Jessica stood before the figure cloaked in shadows, anxiety twisting in her gut. She felt Lisa and Ryan flanking her, their presence infusing her with a fierce determination. "I don't have secrets that you hold over me," she said, forcing strength into her voice. "What do you want?" The figure stepped forward into the light, revealing a familiar face, Diana, an old acquaintance from high school. Jessica's heart sank. "You?" she breathed, the weight of the past crashing over her like a wave. "Surprised?" Diana asked, her tone unyielding. "You really should have known that someone in this town would be watching. Especially since you've gone public with your plans. What do you want from me?" Jessica demanded, her pulse racing. Diana smirked, her eyes glittering with a past riddled with unresolved conflict. "Let us just say, if you push for that role on the school board, I'll make sure everyone remembers how your life fell apart. The divorce, the mess. People love a story, Jess. And if you think they'll support a single mom with a past, you're dreaming." An icy knot seized Jessica's stomach, but she couldn't let fear take hold. "I am more than my mistakes, Diana. I am fighting for my son and my community. You can't keep me from that. Can I?" Diana's smirk faded, replaced by a hardness. "You might be surprised at how many people will fall for the lies. Don't say I didn't warn you. Back down while you still can." She turned her back on Jessica, her retreat shrouded in darkness. Jessica's heart thundered. Was she really going to let this stand? "Wait!" she called out, urgency mingling with her fear. "This isn't over." Diana turned slightly, the shadows playing over her face. "It's just begun, sweetie." As her departure settled into the air, Jessica's friends stepped closer, concern etched across their faces. Ryan's hand gripped Jessica's shoulder tightly. "Don't let her get to you. She's just trying to scare you." "You're right," Jessica said, steeling herself. "She can try. But she won't succeed. We have to go forward. I'm not just a single mom anymore, I'm a voice for everyone in this town." The sun peeking over the horizon the next day felt like an awakening, illuminating her path. She gathered her thoughts and crafted a powerful message for the community. It was time to address her truth head-on and redefine her narrative. At the next community meeting, Jessica stood before a packed room. Once more, anticipation crackled in the air. She looked at faces filled with a mix of hope and skepticism. "I know some of you may doubt me because of my past, and I own that history. But I stand before you as a testament of resilience, not just for myself, but for all of us." As her voice grew stronger, she felt the warmth of solidarity enveloping her, like a protective embrace. "I've faced challenges, yes. But I am not defined by them. I refuse to let fear dictate my future or the future of our families. I stand for our children, for opportunities they deserve, and for a town that can thrive together." The crowd listened in silence, then, like a breath releasing, murmurs of agreement spread. She locked eyes with Lisa, who smiled encouragingly, and Ryan gave her a thumbs up. "We can build a brighter future, together. But only if we don't let a shadow from the past haunt us." A brave hand raised from the back, beckoning courage in the soft tone of a woman Jessica had once considered just an acquaintance. "Then let us change the narrative. We're here for you." And with that, a wave of passionate voices lifted in support. The chorus of change that Jessica had yearned to hear rose triumphant, drowning out the whispers of doubt. As excitement swelled, momentum shifted. Jessica felt a remarkable energy, it was alive and electrifying. The storm of doubt had shifted into a supportive current, pushing them toward a brave new beginning. One by one, more voices joined in, sharing their dreams and frustrations, uniting in a tapestry woven from threads of shared struggles and hope. As laughter and encouragement filled the room, Jessica's heart swelled with joy. The community she dreamed of, a vibrant tapestry stitched together by dreams and aspirations, was coming to life. In that moment, every challenge they had faced felt worthwhile. They were not alone. As the applause surged around her like a tidal wave, Jessica's spirit soared high. For the first time in years, she saw a clear path ahead, one filled with authentic connections, support, and the promise of transformation. This was their town, their fight for both a classroom and a community where every single voice mattered. "Together we are strong. Let us take this momentum and keep going," she called out, her heart igniting with electricity. Outside the building, as the sun set, painting the sky vibrant hues of orange and pink, she realized the storm had brought unexpected revelations, not chaos. Tom approached her, an encouraging smile breaking on his face. "You did it, Jess," he said, pride radiating from him. "See? Never doubt your power." Jessica looked up at him, her heart full. "Let us keep making waves," she exclaimed, already planning the next steps. As their fight for the diner and the school board gained traction, they grew into a movement that could not be silenced. Because Jessica knew now, secrets from the past held no power over a community that believed in healing and rebuilding together. As days turned to weeks, they began casting a different light over the town. And as Diana's shadows receded, another truth emerged: resilience is born from connection, and love triumphs when nurtured openly. The journey of change echoed through Jessica's heart, one unyielding step at a time. Together, now, as we reach the end of this inspiring journey, I have something urgent to say. You need to subscribe now to ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will touch your heart. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help with spreading these impactful messages. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Let's inspire even more together. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Let us empower others.